the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. My name is Brian Wallace, and I am the MS Michigan Man 64. The MS Michigan Man 64 podcast is about chronic disease awareness. I have had multiple sclerosis for the last 27 years. It's an invisible chronic disease that I've been battling for half of my life. I want to share with you what it is like living with the chronic disease from my experiences and the experiences of other chronic disease warriors. We can fight to have a voice to those that want to listen. Together, we can motivate and educate. Hi, and welcome to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. Today, I am talking with my friend Faye from down in Alabama. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis right around the same age as I was, 26, 27 years old. How are you doing today, Faye?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So take me through when you got diagnosed, the symptoms you were having that led up to your diagnosis, and how that whole path went for you to get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when you were 27.
Um, it started with uh, a knee injury. Go figure.
Wow.
um, I worked in nursing homes, assisted living facilities as a certified nursing assistant, and in amongst that testing to get ready for that surgery, they found out that I had RRMS, and you know when you at that age, when you think of multiple sclerosis and working in the medical field like I did,
Hmm.
um, you see the effects of MS over the years. What
Sure.
effect it has on the body.
Yeah.
They say that MS is not a death sentence. Um, in a way it is, and in a way it's not. And in my mind, it was a death sentence because, for one, it was going to take away my career.
Yeah.
For two, I was young. I was very young.
Yeah.
But I had the symptoms of the numbness and tingling in the hands and the feet, and um, the blurred vision and the migraines, um, which I had migraines for years. I never, I was on medication for migraines. They told
Yeah.
me that when I was 15 or 16 years old that they were cluster migraines.
Okay.
Well, I didn't go on any DMTs when I was first diagnosed because in my mind I was going to fight it. I was not
You
going to
were,
let it debilitate me.
yeah, you were kind of
And
denying the diagnosis at first.
yes, I was
Yeah.
in serious denial, very
Yeah.
serious denial. And in let's go a couple of years ahead to 2011.
Hmm.
Um, I had an accident. Me and a friend of mine. I owned a 2001 Nissan Xterra SUV,
Hmm.
and the rear tire blew. I lost control of the vehicle
Oh
and
God.
ended up rolling the vehicle 15 plus times. We ended
Oh my
up
gosh.
down in a 462-foot ravine.
Oh my God.
Thank the good Lord above that both of us
Yeah.
are still here to tell our story.
Absolutely.
I ended up with a basilar skull fracture. I have a scar that starts right here, mid forehead, and goes all the way back to the crown of my head. Um, it totally shattered my left shoulder, fractured my neck. So when they were doing the MRIs of my neck and my head and
Hmm.
CT scans to make sure that everything in that area was okay, that's when they found that my neck was broke, and they done an MRI. I was laying in the hospital bed, and they come in the next day, and the doctor said, "We're going to do a MRI with and without contrast."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Okay." At this point, I had done totally spaced the fact that I had MS. I mean, yeah, I still had the symptoms, and the symptoms were getting worse. I
Mhm.
mean, it got to the point that there was times that I would have to call off work because my left leg would not work. I could not feel
Yeah.
my left leg. I could not get out of bed.
Yeah.
And my vision would be so blurry that I could not drive. At this point, I went to college and got my EMT basic
Okay. Mhm.
certificate. So I was working on an ambulance at this point.
And that's a very physical job there.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And I mean, there was times that I would have to call out of work because I couldn't see, and I'm not going to put my life, my medic's life, and my patient's life in danger because I can't physically see to drive
Right.
the ambulance.
Yeah.
Um, so in 2011, I had that wreck, and they come in and said that they were going to do the MRI with and without contrast of from top to bottom.
Mhm.
So they come back, and the doctor pulls his little rolly stool over, and he's like, "I got some questions for you." He said, "I'm going to do some tests, check your reflexes and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay." So he goes through all this, and of course my reflexes on my left side are slow. They're
Mhm.
not where he wants them to be.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Have you ever been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis?" And I shut down. I
Yeah.
shut down. I immediately shut down. I closed my eyes and I turned my head to the right, and I'm like, "I don't even want to discuss it."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You have." And I said, "Unfortunately, yes, I have." I said, "I was diagnosed in 2006, 2007, roughish." I said, and he said, "What form did they diagnose you with?" And I said, "Relapsing remitting." And he
Mhm.
said, "Okay." He said, "Well," he said, I have some good news and some bad news." And I said, "Okay." He said, "With good news is we can put you on medication and slow the progression of this disease."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, what is the bad news?" He said, "Bad news is," he said, "you are now officially disabled. Your EMT career is over."
Wow. How
And I
did
was
that
like,
that
I mean, I
that
lost it. I cried.
yeah.
I
I
cried.
and how old were you when that was?
I had just turned 31.
Wow. That's unbelievable, Faye. That had to be so devastating, the mentally. That I mean, because you work so hard and you're still young, and
Yeah,
to be told that you have multiple sclerosis and for that to be pretty much just end career ending diagnosis for you, it's
yeah. He
unbelievable.
told me, he said, with it still, I still, I still find myself from time to time getting upset because I did work so hard
Yeah.
to have that career. It was my passion. I
Hmm.
wanted to be the person that helped people. I've
Yeah.
always been a helper, a giver, and for a doctor to look you in the eyes and tell you you cannot do that no more,
Yeah. It's very hard.
that's hard. That is a hard pill to swallow
Yeah. Yeah.
because at this point I was 2 months away from having my associate's degree in emergency medical
Wow.
with my paramedic degree.
Yeah.
I could have taught paramedic, I could have taught EMT basic, and it was gone. All
Yeah.
gone in the flash of an eye.
Yeah. I just I couldn't even imagine what you went through. I mean, when I got diagnosed, yeah, I didn't have I wasn't in a position like that. I still was able to work for 20 years after my diagnosis, but yeah, to have something, to have a career like, yeah, that you have to be physically fit, like a fireman or a EMT or a police officer, and just to get that diagnosis. I mean, that's a life changer and a career ending diagnosis, and it's just so hard mentally.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
it was hard on me, and it still is to this day.
yeah, yeah. So, how did you handle, like, when you were told that and you finally, came to the reality, "Oh my god, I can't do my job anymore." What did you, like, explain how your path was at that point, because you're basically being told, "Okay, you can't do this." So, how did you handle that at 31 years old?
At that point, um, of course, I was still in denial. Don't get me wrong, I was still in denial.
Mhm.
Um, but me and my best friend, she helped me through a lot of it. And without her there saying, you got this, you know,
Yeah.
don't let this define you.
Yeah.
And I guess one day I was in a really bad flare up, and it was like a light bulb went off. I want to advocate for this disease. I want
Yeah.
people to realize that just because you're diagnosed with multiple sclerosis does not mean your life stops right there.
Exactly.
You can get up and you can advocate and you can do what you want to do with your life.
Yep.
Yeah, things may
Yep.
be a little more difficult. It may take a little more time to do things,
Mhm.
but you've got to get up and you've got to push. You can't give up. You give up, and that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to take you, it's going to
Yeah.
overtake you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. And a lot of when I talk to people that have this disease, and especially when they're at a young age, in their 20s or 30s, I try to tell them, you know, me formerly playing football at the University of Michigan, and you're feeling like you're indestructible. You're 6'5" and 295 pounds, and then you get hit with this disease. But the way I look at it is, you know what? MS took a lot from me, but there's a lot that MS will never be able to take from me. And it'll never be able to take the fact that I played football at the University of Michigan. And it's never going to be able to take the fact that you were an EMT and you were working on a squad and you did complete that and you did accomplish that. And that's something that, you need to pat yourself on the back for, and I pat myself on the back for my past accomplishments. No, I can't.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
People need to realize that, yeah, you go through the 5 stages of grief when you're diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I mean, you go through the denial, you go through the no, not me, I'm too healthy, you go through all that. But at the end of the day, it is up to us as multiple sclerosis patients to look this disease in the eye and say, you know what? No, you will not define me. You will not take what little bit I have left. I will fight you tooth and nail.
Yep.
And that is what I do every day. I mean, there's days that I have to literally roll myself out of bed and hold on to my bed to stand there for a minute just to get the strength to stand on my own 2 feet. It may
Yep.
take me 45 minutes, but you know what? I beat MS because I got up. I didn't continue to lay there and wallow.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I'm 100% the same way as you are, Faye. I always tell myself, every day's a good day that you get up and get out of bed. And I make sure that I get up and get out of bed every day, no matter how shitty I feel. Um, because, you know, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. You
Exactly.
might not be here tomorrow. I mean,
Exactly.
you got in a car accident, and thank God you're still here. But I mean, anybody can get in that car accident tomorrow. So you got to take
Exactly.
advantage of take advantage of what you can do still, even with this diagnosis of multiple sclerosis.
Exactly. And when they told me that uh not only did I have lesions on the brain, now I have lesions on the spinal cord.
Mhm,
And with the lesions on the spinal cord, they say that once they start hitting the spinal cord, you know, it's not long and you're walker bound, you're cane bound, and then your next step is completely wheelchair bound because you cannot
mhm,
use anything from the waist down. Sometimes
yeah,
it's further up, depending.
yeah,
Well, they found that I have a lesion that is a quarter of a centimeter from the um, base of the brainstem,
mhm,
and they were like, "We don't understand it. We don't understand it. You're still walking. You're still talking. You're still feeding yourself. Um, this it's so close to where the root ball is of your nerves.
yeah,
I mean, that is the main center of the nerves, is right there at the base of the skull,
mhm,
base of the brain." And they're like, it makes no sense. And I looked at my neurologist and I was like, you know what? This is not going to take me. This is not going
yeah,
to take me. It may have taken 2 careers from me, but it will not take my life. I will
yep,
fight it tooth and nail.
yep, I'm with you, I'm the same way.
I mean,
I,
there's days that I can't walk,
yeah.
but I do it anyway. I push myself. And that's
You
what
know
you have to
another
do. You have to show MS that you're not going to let it take you down.
you gotta have an attitude with it almost, you gotta kinda be an asshole to it. "You know what? I screw you, I'm still
Exactly.
doing this."
Yeah,
I mean, that's the way that I've lived my whole life, I've when if I was able to when I was still walking, I was coaching football. When I was able to and I was still riding a jet ski, I had MS and I was still doing all these things. Just because you get that diagnosis, it doesn't mean that you're shut down the rest of your life. You still got a lot of life to live. Um,
exactly. And there's so many resources. I mean, there's not enough, in my opinion, for MS patients, but there is resources out there. Um, get involved in the multiple sclerosis groups.
mhm,
Um, connect with people close to you that have the same diagnosis as MS. It doesn't matter whether it's RRMS, PPMS, S secondary progressive MS. It doesn't matter.
no,
Get involved with these people. They will help you. They will be your support group, whether you have a support group at home or not. I have found so much love and support from other MSers on Facebook, on TikTok. Wrap
yep,
their arms around you and say, "Hey, we got you. You're having
yep,
a bad day? We'll pick up your slack.
yep,
We're here to
absolutely.
support you."
And I
And
think
that
I think I'll
community to me is my family. They
yeah.
they're they're my family.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think it's easier to talk to somebody that has this disease because they understand it. I mean,
Yes.
I might not have the same symptoms as you, but I get it. I mean, I know people that they don't have the use of a hand. I mean, I can still use my hands, but I understand what they're talking about not being able to use it.
Yeah.
I think that it makes it so much easier. Another thing that I really I in 27 years I've been doing this, I'm interested to see if you think the same thing. Is that people that have been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis or any other chronic disease for that matter, they all usually are understanding of other people that have chronic diseases. Like when I got diagnosed with MS and I started learning about, people with other diseases that I worked with, like they had fibromyalgia, or some other kind of neuropathy. When they would or diet like they were diabetic. I understood that. It was like I was more compassionate when
Yeah.
and I think that people that are diagnosed with similar diseases that we are, they're just more compassionate for some reason.
Yeah. That's like my best friend. She has Sjogren's disease, and with Sjogren's, it attacks the joints and the soft tissues and stuff in the joints, and
Painful.
it is also classified as an autoimmune disease.
Yeah,
So I mean, and a lot of her symptoms mimic ours, and a lot of
yeah,
our symptoms mimic hers.
mhm,
So you know, I guess that's why she's so understanding and supports me so much like she does is because
yeah,
on my bad days, she knows. She knows.
right,
You know, I've been there. I've done that. I know how you feel. Take today.
yeah,
Don't worry about anything. You
yep,
know, take your time.
yeah. Yeah, and it and the sad thing is that the people that get it are the people that got it, like, have the disease, and the people that don't get it are the ones that don't have it, and they just have no clue. I mean, whether it's a coworker at work or, just your friend. I mean, it could be a friend that you've known for 20 years, but they just
Yeah.
don't understand it because they don't know
Another th-
anybody.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to
go
interrupt
ahead.
you.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Faye.
Another thing that really irritates me is, and this is one of my biggest problems,
Mhm.
is when we go shopping, we have the handicap placard or we have the handicap license plate, you know, and we're parked in those spots. And you've got these people that when you get out of the vehicle and you may be having a good day, you're moving good, everything's working great. You get out of
Yeah,
that vehicle, people looking at you like, really?
yeah,
You look fine. Why are you
yeah,
parked there? Why do you have. I actually got into a confrontation with a lady um, at a big box retail store. Um, she confronted me as I got out of my vehicle and basically told me that I was a piece of crap for parking in a parking spot that was meant for an actual handicapped person. And I just kindly looked at her and I said, "Lady, you don't know my story. Just because I look fine on the outside does not mean what's going on the inside
right.
isn't like a hurricane blew through or a
Yeah,
tornado.
exactly,
My whole
exactly.
body on the inside is just frayed and frazzled."
Yeah. And I noticed I've gotten the same looks when I was younger. I don't get them that much now when I'm 54 years old and I got a gray beard and I
Yeah,
think everybody just kind of looks at me now like, okay, he's in a handicap spot. I get it. He's got a gray beard. But yeah, when I was younger in my 20s and in my 30s, and if I was just having a bad day and I parked in a handicap spot because I had a placard, which I didn't use it if I didn't need it, but
yeah,
I would get looks from people all the time, and I'd just like, you know what? You just have no clue. You really don't have a clue.
exactly, exactly. And I have met people that they don't even know what MS is, never heard of
Yeah.
it. Okay, and the best way I explain it, and this is the way, it's funny. This is the way that my neurologist now described multiple sclerosis to me. He said, "Okay, you've got an extension cord and you've got it plugged up into the wall."
Hmm.
He said, "And you plug something up into that extension cord, but you have naked wires in the middle.
Right.
You can move that cord just right. This may work, but then again, you may get an arc over here."
Right. Right.
He said, and that's basically what multiple sclerosis is. It
Yep.
is your body attacking the nerve and it's taking all that coating off.
Yep.
Without that
The
coating, you're
myelin.
not
Yep.
getting a proper signal to where
Yep.
you need to. And that's what people don't understand with MS. Okay, that's like right now I'm having tremors.
Uh-huh.
Tremors have been bad this week.
Hmm.
Um, it's all because my brain, there's a naked wire somewhere to my hand
Yeah.
that's
You're
saying
shorting out.
it's shorting out, shorting out. It's
Yep.
not. It's. I try to tell my hand to be still, and my hand's like, No, no, I want to move.
Yeah,
But it's because my brain's not getting the correct signal to my hand.
right.
And when I tell people that, they look at me, they cock their head sideways, and they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, look it up."
Yeah.
And
I
I've
know
actually got
I
pictures saved on my phone in an album um, that describes. I don't know if anybody's seen them on Facebook. They're like memes that show the problems with MS. The
like cognitive
Sorry, Brian, my brain just
function.
said, "Whoop." I'm done.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, I get it, and I got MS too. I was recording with a guy a couple weeks ago, and like halfway through it, I just blanked out, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I forgot what I was going to say." So I get it, Faye. Happens all the time with us
Yeah,
MSers.
and it's embarrassing at times. Just like right now,
Yeah,
I'm so embarrassed that I just totally forgot what I was saying.
I used to be embarrassed about that, but now I just kind of laugh it off. Like, shit. I mean, what are you going to do? We
My
we
best
can't.
friend tells me all the time. She said we have what you call CRS syndrome.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what? And she's like, you can't remember shit.
you can't remember shit. Absolutely, I've heard that one before. To
Yeah.
go back to, the way your neurologist described it with that the bare wire, my neurologist described it to me the exact same way 27 years ago. When he was explaining it to me, he was holding up a wire and he's like, "Just imagine that this wire lost the plastic coating on it. That's what's happening to your nerves. The myelin's being attacked." And that's the way. I mean, it's a great explanation for people
Yes.
that just don't
Yes.
have it, yeah, like it just to compare it to that wire. I mean, everybody can understand a short in a wire. So yeah, that's a great way to explain it to somebody.
Exactly. Exactly. A very
Yeah.
perfect way to explain it.
Yeah. So how
And
how has your family support been throughout this whole thing?
um it's been it's my sister, she's not very understanding of the disease.
Okay,
But for the most part, it's been really good. It's been really good.
that's good.
We have my mom was also diagnosed, but she was diagnosed 2 years before me.
So she
She
got
has
diagnosed. So she was later in life getting diagnosed with it.
Yes, mom was 40. Mom was my age when she got diagnosed. She was 44 when she got diagnosed.
44 when she got diagnosed. Wow.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, the norm's usually that 18 to 35, 40. So I guess she was like at the tail end of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a later diagnosis. So you
Yeah,
got a
it
parent.
was it was weird because the doctor was like, "Are we seeing this correctly? We're gonna send you to a neurologist just to see where we're at." But yeah,
Mhm.
she was diagnosed at the age of 44, and
So are you
um,
the only two in the family, or do you have any other family
no,
that have
my
been diagnosed?
brother my brother also has a MS. We're the only three with MS.
The only 3. Because I know a lot of people go back and forth whether it's hereditary or not, and, I mean, I honestly don't know. I've read so many different things about it. I'm not convinced either way, one way or another. I'm the only one in my family on both sides that have ever been diagnosed with MS. Um,
Yeah,
you know, and I know other people that have, 3 or 4 people in their family that have had that MS. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold either way if it is or isn't. I do think that it has maybe something to do with the location that we're at. Because I know that a lot of
yeah.
the
I
MS,
mean,
a lot of
I'm
a
not
lot of
solely convinced that it's not hereditary, and I'm not convinced that it is hereditary. But
yeah.
I mean, when you've got three people, I mean, one being the mother and two children, um, it kind of raises some concerns.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But then it also makes my eyebrows go up when I'm the only one in the family. It's like, how did I get it?
Yeah, and
I
that's the
don't
way my
know.
mom was when she was diagnosed because at that point she was the only one in the family that was diagnosed.
Yeah,
You know, and then I got diagnosed and then my brother got diagnosed and it was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, this is not hereditary." Um so when I went back to my neurologist when my brother uh got diagnosed, I was like, "Okay, doc, explain this to me." He's like, "Okay, we got this." I said, "My mom was diagnosed. I was diagnosed. Now my brother's been diagnosed. How is this not hereditary?" He was
yeah,
he kind of chuckled and he was like, "Honey, I wish I could tell you." He said, "But right now they're saying that it's not hereditary. It's just
yeah,
a gene mutation."
yeah, yeah. Now, do any of your siblings, do they have kids, and did have their kids, stayed away from the diagnosis or anything?
Let's see, there's me and my brother are the only two with biological kids. And so far, my two are good.
Good,
And my brother's son, my nephew, um, he's not showed any signs or symptoms, and he's fine.
good, good. That's good.
But
It's like I said, I'm not, I'm kind of like you. I'm not sold either way. I mean, I think you can you can argue either way, I
yeah,
think. But I mean, bottom line is you got it, you got it. But I love your attitude. Especially after having your career taken away from you, and you're just so positive. And that's the way you have to be with this disease. Because if you don't stay positive, this disease will destroy you mentally.
it really it. I appreciate that, but there's days that I do struggle. I do
Yeah,
struggle with staying positive, and it's like there for a while after they told me that it was career ending. I was not positive at all. I went
yeah,
through my moment,
yeah,
but I have finally come to the terms of, you know, I believe in God, and God has a
no,
bigger purpose.
yeah,
Whether anybody else believes or not, that's their choice. Higher power, whatever they want to believe. Um, I honestly believe that I would not be where I am today in my stage of disease without my Lord and Savior and Him helping me develop a way of coping with it, whether it be joking about it or um, raising awareness, you
yeah,
know, um, being able to do this has helped me. I
yeah,
mean, don't get me wrong, I still have my days where I just want to lay in the bed and throw myself a pity party and God, why did you do this to me? It's not fair. I just want to be a 2-year old and kick and scream.
yeah.
But I realize I can't do that
Right.
because I, I let the devil in and take control. And if that happens, then yeah, it is going to debilitate me. It is going to take me completely out.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. I've been through way too much in my life. I have fought to be where I am today,
Hmm.
and I will not give up. I
Yep.
absolutely will not give up.
Yeah.
I will go out
Absolutely.
kicking and screaming.
Yep. You and me, same way. You know, 27 years, and MS might take me out, but yeah, I'm not going to go quiet. I'm
No,
going. If it takes away my legs, all right. So I got to use a walker or I got to use a wheelchair. So be it. But I'm still going to
exactly.
live my life. I'm still going to live my life the best I can.
I am going to slide through the gates of heaven on 2 wheels.
exactly.
screaming,
Amen.
"Dang, what a ride!"
Amen,
you
Faye.
know.
Amen. Yep. Faye, I just like absolutely love talking to you. You are such a positive person, um, very inspirational. Just hearing your story and how you just do not quit. And I really want to thank you for joining me today.
Oh, I appreciate you
and is it,
having me.
yeah, is there anything that you want to say, like last words, to anybody that's been, going through the same diagnosis with multiple sclerosis or any other chronic disease for that matter?
If you're listening and you feel like you don't have a support system, um, and you feel alone, you're not alone. There's many of us. We have a community over on TikTok. We have communities on Facebook. Um, Look us up. We
Yep.
will help you in any way we can.
Yep.
I mean, I will sit and talk to you for hours if that's what
Yep.
it takes,
Yep.
because I have seen and heard of so many that can't deal with the diagnosis and try to do other alternatives, and it affects more than just you.
Yeah.
There's no easy way of dealing with this disease,
Right.
and there's no easy way out, is what I'm trying to say. I have seen so many, once they get the diagnosis, oh, it's over. My life's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not. You've got so much more life to live. You've
Yep.
got so much more love to give. Do not give up. We will wrap our arms around you as an MS community, and we will help you through this.
Yep. So just can you mention, you said the Facebook community. What is what's the tag for the Facebook community? Like if somebody was going to
Uh,
search it on Facebook.
there's one of the groups I'm in is multiple scler- multiple sclerosis warriors is one of the groups I'm in. Um, you can search multiple sclerosis in the search bar. I
Mhm.
can't
Okay.
remember, but you can
Right.
search multiple sclerosis in the search bar on Facebook, and it'll pull up support groups.
Mhm.
Groups that you can go in there and share day to day. Hey, this is what I'm going through today. You know,
Yeah.
does anybody have any ideas to help me get through the day and to deal with this sign or symptom or whatever? And
Yeah.
I mean, they wrap their arms around you and they love you, and they're like, I may not have, I may not have the same symptom as you, but this is similar to what you're describing, and this is what I've
Mhm.
done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love my groups.
Yeah.
And if you're having a bad day, you can post in there, hey, today's a really bad day. It's really affecting my mental health. Is there anybody that can talk for a few minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. The
Yeah.
community will wrap their arms around you and love on you.
Awesome. That's awesome. Again, Faye, I really want to thank you. It was so awesome talking to you. I made a new friend. I know somebody down in Alabama now.
Yes.
If I ever get down that way, I'll be looking you up. I love that state.
Oh,
But I will
definitely,
def
definitely.
yeah, I will definitely keep in touch with you. And I really want to thank you for joining me today. And this is MS Michigan Man 64 Brian. I am out. You all have a wonderful day.